should be off anyway. So I don't have to wait for people to show them from the waiting room because I've pressed the right buttons. Although I did set this meeting up for 11 until noon, but I told everybody it was at 10, so that doesn't matter either. So we're off by hook or by crook. Lección 21. So buenos días, señoras y señores, y bienvenidos a la lección 21 de la clase de español. ¿Qué tenemos esta semana? Well, we'll start with homework, la tarea de la semana pasada, homework from last week. We're going to oh gosh, there was a few there, which was a bit worrying. We're going to talk about how to ask for drinks and what drinks are called in Spanish, which I know will be popular. We're going to do more on the verb gustar, some slightly different variations to the ones that we did last week. We're going to talk about addresses in Spain, in Spanish, i.e. where you live. And we're going to, just a quick one on the difference between great and big, which I think I've touched on before, but just to underline things. So, right, let's get cracking with last week's homework. So it was completing the following phrases, and you had to put in the right conjugation of gustar. The thing to remember principally is whether it's plural or singular, and if you remember that, if you can spot that, then you can't go far wrong. But there are a few sort of strange ones that catch you out. I think I'm pretty good with these, although I did a gustar instead of a gustan in a conversation earlier this week, so don't always get it right. Let's see. Ian's top of my list.
Right.
And you're always top of my list, Ian. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Perhaps I'm the only one who doesn't. My computer's linked by Ethernet, not by Wi-Fi. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
it's because he coughs too much.
Maybe. So, Ian, what did you get for these? Did you manage to complete these?
Well, I had a go. I wouldn't say I've got them right.
Okay. I bet you have. Go on.
Oh, we'll see. A mi gusta ir a la playa.
That's right. Yeah. Let's just have a look at the pronunciation there. So a mí is perfectly correct. A mí, me, not me. Me gusta ir a la playa. So we've really got to emphasize those Spanish sounding letters. A mí me gusta ir a la playa. It's really difficult because we don't speak Spanish all the time. We don't hear people speaking Spanish. When you do, when you're in a Spanish-speaking country and people are talking to you in Spanish all the time, your ears, you do absorb the sound. So it's much easier than when we're sitting here in Inglaterra. Well done, Ian. Right. Number 2.
Os gustan los lugares cálidos.
Cálidos, sí. Los lugares cálidos, the warm places, are plural, so gustan. Number 3.
Elena le gusta mucho la sopa de lentejas.
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 Yeah, sopa de lentejas. Lentil soup. Yeah, okay. It's not my cup of tea.
It's not mine either.
I don't know why we've gone from 3 to 5, but we have done, but never mind.
No me gustan nada los gatos.
Yeah. Don't forget me gusta.
Me.
Yeah.
A todo le mundo le gusta de vacancias. I wasn't sure whether it was plural or singular because vacancias is plural anyway.
Vacaciones is, yeah. Vacaciones. Yeah, it is, but the thing that pleases you is to go.
Yeah.
So it's that verb ir, which is obviously singular.
Yeah,
so
gusta.
You got it right. Gusta. Yeah. A todo el mundo le gusta ir de vacaciones. Or vacaciones if you're in a certain part of Spain or Latin America.
Yeah,
number 7.
No me gustan cuando dis torrentias. If that's how you pronounce it.
Tonterías.
Tonterías.
Yeah. Now that's actually no me gusta. So I don't like it when you speak rubbish. I thought that phrase might be useful for. I know a few of us in class have got Spanish-speaking grandchildren, and they do talk rubbish from time to time. So there we go. No me gusta cuando dices tonterías. Well done, Ian.
I thought you put that one in because you're having a go at me, Eric.
You don't talk rubbish, Adrian. Normally you're picking me up for talking rubbish. So no, definitely not. So there we go. Here we are. Well done, Ian. That was you got them all right. So you either got 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7, depending on my numbering, which is gone somewhat awry. Okie dokie. The next set was to add the correct pronouns. A little bit more tricky, this one. So let's see how we got on. James popped up the gallery to number 2. So Jane, are you able to? How did you get on with these? Okay.
Don't know. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Now I'm sure you've done fine. See.
Pablo, ¿te gusta esta música?
Yeah, that's good. We're quite obviously, although not definitely, we're talking in the informal because we're addressing Pablo. So we address him in the informal. Te gusta. Sí, muy bien.
Allora, no le gustan las noticias.
Sí, perfecto.
Señoras, ¿le gusta ir al fútbol?
Señores is plural. So did you say le or les?
I did say le, so it should be les, should it?
Les gusta, yeah, les gusta. Yeah. Gentlemen, do you like to go to football? Yeah.
No estoy bien, no me gusta estar enferma.
Muy bien. 5.
A Sergio, y a mí nos gustan los deportes de riego.
Muy bien. Do you know what los deportes de riesgo is? Extreme sports.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I did after I looked it up.
Okay.
A mi hijos les gustan los dibujos animados.
Muy bien. Don't forget we need to hit those plurals. So not mi hijos, mis hijos. You just need to make sure we sound every letter. Good.
A ti te gustan los perros y a tu novia le gustan los gatos. Menos mal que no nos gusta discutir.
Yeah. Os da discutir.
Oh, it's os. Why is it os?
Well, do you know what menos mal means in?
It's like something about, but we don't. However, or something like that.
So menos mal is without bad, but it means luckily in Spanish.
Oh.
It's one of those that won't translate literally.
I thought it was luckily we. Is it not luckily we don't?
No,
Oh,
no,
no,
you're
don't.
talking
yes,
to somebody
I've
saying,
realised, yeah.
you don't, you like dogs and your girlfriend likes cats. So it's lucky that you don't argue. Yeah. Os. And it's in the informal because you're obviously having a chat with your mate and you've used the informal there. So yeah, slightly trickier one.
No nos gustan las mismas cosas. A él le gusta la música. A mí me gusta el teatro.
Muy bien, perfecto. Yeah, let's just have a look at those. Well done, Jane. So that was pretty straightforward. So the next section was to write 5 phrases with things or activities that you like. I was quite amused to read these actually because my daughter-in-law wrote these for me a little while ago when she was helping to plan lessons, and she wrote these sentences to test people. But she obviously had me in mind because I like working in my garden. I like chocolate biscuits. I do like a glass of rum, and given half a chance, I'll have 2 glasses of rum. And I like to see my grandchildren. They like to see me. So these and the next lot, she obviously had me in mind. And I don't like other people loading the dishwasher. It was one of her things, and I was constantly telling her that she was stacking the plates all wrong and put all the knives together in the cutlery compartment. So there we go. So how did we get on with this? Carl, did you come up with some things that you like?
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
So, a me gusta whiskey de Malta.
Okay.
A mí me gusta ir a esquiar a menudo.
Esquiar
A menudo.
Esquiar.
A mí me gusta cocinar galletas milanesas y Giselle y yo nos gusta comerlas. So, a mí me gusta cocinar galletas milanesas.
Are they millionaire?
Galletas milanesas.
Right. Okay.
Millionaire shortbread.
Yeah. Millionaire biscuits. Yeah.
Yeah. Y Giselle y yo nos gusta comerlas.
Again.
And a mí me gustan comprar los carros nuevos.
Carros nuevos. You buying new cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carros nuevos.
Nuevos. Sorry. Nuevos. Los carros nuevos.
Muy bien.
And finally, a mí me gusta jugar al racquetball.
Okay, super. Well done. That was good. And the next section was things that don't please you. You could say no te gustan, but Lucy here has used the phrase disgustan, which means to not like. Disgustan. So, Adrian, could you find 5 things that you don't like or displease you?
Quattro.
Lo cierto, sí.
No me gusta la intolerancia.
Intolerancia.
No me gusta la tecnología cuando se para de funcionar.
Okay. Muy bien.
No me gustan las babosas en mi jardín.
Okay.
No me gusta Donald Trump.
He's gone. He's gone. He's hello. He won't. He's dead, but he won't lie down.
Me disgusta Donald Trump.
Disgusta. Yeah. I think we could say El Donald Trump. The Spanish often do put a direct object in front of people. You will hear that quite often. And I've never been able to work out whether it's definitely needed or not, because some do and some don't. So I think it's optional. Well done, well done. Did everybody get Adrian's dislikes? Yeah?
Not all.
No,
Not
all.
Not all. Which one didn't you get, or can't you remember now?
Can't remember. I think the third one.
Third one. Which was the third one, Adrian?
Es como tus número uno, las babosas en mi jardín.
I don't know what babosas was.
Slugs.
Ah. Imagine me not knowing that.
So again, Lucy wrote these for me, and her first one was, funnily enough, was "A mí no me gustan las babosas y los caracoles porque se coman mis lechugas." So I don't like slugs or snails. So babosas are the ones without shells, and caracoles are the ones with shells. It's a bit like German. They have a word for a slug and a snail, which has a shell. Is one a schnacker, Carl, and one a knacker schnacker? Is that right?
I don't actually know. I mean, gardening's not my strong point.
You're not very well up on slugs, are you? So a knacker schnacker is one without a shell, I think.
Okay. Oh, as soon as you said that, I thought, I don't think I know that, so I'll look that up.
Yeah. Check it
I
out.
wonder what Spanish for puppy dog tails is.
Puppy dog tails. Yeah.
That's what little boys are made of.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
Yes. So I'm desperately trying to think what tail is. A cola, isn't it? Cola. Las colas de peritos, I guess.
That was good.
It doesn't scan quite as well. Okay, so brilliant. Well done, everybody. Anybody struggle with that? I think you did fine, everybody, despite thinking that, gosh, this is hard. I think you did fine, and it took me a couple of years to get my head around Gustan. I think you've done really well to be able to do that without too much aggravation. So we're going to move on to drinks. So we're trying to concentrate this time on really practical, useful Spanish. So I've edited out some of the stuff that was in our lessons last year, and I'm trying to stick to the useful stuff. Now, ordering drinks is quite useful. These drinks here, what are they? These are regular drinks. Abigail, do you know what all these are?
I'll have a bash,
would you read it out, because I want to hear people speaking Spanish. So would you read them out and then translate for us, please?
Right, un café, a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Además, I'm not sure what that means actually.
Además, in addition. So it's two types of coffee. Yeah.
Right. Además, cafeinado.
It's cafeinado. Sí.
Decaffeinated coffee.
Yeah.
Una copa de vino. A glass of wine.
Perfecto.
Un té con limón. A lemon tea.
Mm-hmm.
Una infusión de manzanilla.
Yeah, manzanilla.
One of those, I don't know, a herbal tea of some description.
Manzanilla is chamomile.
Oh, a chamomile tea.
They often prescribe it for an upset tummy. So if you've had a slightly off tummy in your trip to Latin America, they'll offer you some chamomile tea, which is guaranteed to make me feel ill. But there you go.
I'll just ask a question, Eric, on this one. Manzanilla is also a type of sherry. Do you use a different word to ask for the sherry?
Well, to be honest with you, you're asking completely the wrong person when it comes to sherry, because I had a real problem in Tenerife because I fancied a dry sherry before dinner one evening, and I asked them for I think a dry sherry, and then I asked them for the make, La Gitana, the gypsy. Then I asked, and he kept offering me cherry brandy, and so I don't. Manzanilla is certainly a Spanish word, so you ought to get it. But it seems in Tenerife they've never heard of sherry. Not the hotel I was staying in anyway. So my one attempt to get sherry in a Spanish-speaking country was a complete disaster. I did ask for the Wi-Fi code in Mexico City and almost got a whiskey. So that would have been a real result. Okay, manzanilla.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not a lot of help. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
And this is my wife's favourite. Is the next one, Abigail.
Una infusión de limón y jengibre.
Jengibre, yeah.
Jengibre. Ginger, is that? Ginger. Yeah. Lemon and ginger.
Yeah. So they do drink, we call them teas over here. In Spanish, they'll call them infusions. The only thing that's tea is proper tea. So there'll be an infusión. So if you want a non-tea tea in Spain, ask what infusiones they have. DNA. Yeah. ¿Qué infusiones tiene? The next one.
Un chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate.
Chocolate.
That's an easy
Un zumo.
Yeah.
Un zumo, if I was in Spain, or un jugo in Latin America.
Yeah.
Una limonada. Una cerveza.
Yeah. What about the translations?
Oh, yeah.
Sumo y jugo.
Juice.
Juice, yeah.
Juice. A lemonade, a beer.
See?
Café con gotas.
Yeah.
Well, that's the gotas is drops, isn't it? So
yeah.
So
Brandy.
with brandy in it, is it?
It is.
It's
quite popular in northern Spain in the morning. So if you go into a cafe for some breakfast, if you want a coffee to start off with, they might say con gotas. It is drops, and it's drops of brandy, and they'll keep dropping it until you say bastante, enough. Be ready, otherwise you might be staggering around or wandering around in straight.
Spritzer.
Yeah.
Spritzer. Just as we would say it, spritzer de vino blanco.
So the Spanish I is an E sound, and the Spanish Z is a S sound. So spritzer de vino blanco.
De vino blanco.
Yeah.
A white wine spritzer.
It is, absolutely. We added that to our list of drinks last year when there was a lady who liked a spritzer. So we added that one. So there's a list of drinks that you might want. Any missed off there that people particularly like?
Yeah, I've got one. I like to have Tinto de Verano.
Tinto de Verano.
Which is just like a spritzer, really.
Is that like a summer?
It's a summer drink, yeah. Summer drink. Red wine with. They have Fanta Limon. That's not lemonade? I'm not sure. Is it a cross between a lemonade and a soda? I'm not too sure. It's not as sweet as lemonade.
So what's it called? It's called Santa.
It's Fanta Limon.
Fanta Limon. So it's Fanta. Yeah, I would have thought that was lemon Fanta, but it's sharp, is it? Maybe it's like a bitter lemon or something like that.
It is quite sweet, but it isn't as sweet as a lemonade.
Right. Okay. And that one is called Tinto Verano.
Yeah.
That's nice. It sounds a good way to spoil red wine to me, but we've also got sangria, of course, which is supposed to be a typical Spanish drink, but I think it's only the tourists that drink it, according to my information, which isn't always reliable. Okay, good. So there are the drinks. Let's move on to asking people what they would like to drink. So this is us asking somebody else. Now, of course, we can put ourselves in the opposite situation and tell people what we would like to drink using exactly these words. So if you go into a restaurant where they're treating you informally, ¿qué te gustaría tomar? So note that we're using our old mate gustar from last week, but we're now using it in the conditional tense. So instead of saying te gusta, do you like, we're saying te gustaría, would you like? ¿Qué te gustaría? What would you like? And to drink, it's just a weird thing that the Spanish have. They can say beber, and you will hear beber for would you like a drink, but they generally say tomar. ¿Qué te gustaría tomar? What would you like to take? And you may find that in a restaurant for food as well, but it seems always for drink. In the formal, ¿qué le gustaría tomar? You may want to say to somebody, what do you fancy? What would you fancy? ¿Qué te apetece tomar? I tried that out on my daughter-in-law, and she's like, nobody ever says that, Eric. So you might want to use it sparingly, but I thought it was quite nice. What do you fancy? It's a, I don't know whether it's a northern thing, isn't it? What do you fancy, love? Apparently the Spanish don't say it too much, but she did understand what I was asking her. If there's more than one person, ¿qué os gustaría? Informally, or ¿qué les gustaría tomar? In the formal. And of course, you want to ask what somebody wants to drink. You can always do the good old thing and use querer, ¿qué quieres tomar? Or ¿qué quiere tomar? In the formal, or simply ¿qué quiere? What do you want? If there's more than one person, it's ¿qué queréis? Excuse me, ¿qué queréis tomar? Or ¿qué quieren tomar? In the formal. And of course, if you're in Latin America, they won't worry about the you plural informal. They just use querían. And to answer, well, lots of ways you can say what you'd like. Me gustaría un té, gracias. I would like a tea. A tea would please me, literally, but it doesn't mean that in Spain. It means I would like a tea. Me gustaría un té, or whatever other drink. You could say me gusta un té. You could say quisiera una, por ejemplo, limonada, or quiero una limonada. Quisiera, I would like. Quiero, I want a lemonade. So quisiera is a little nicer, just a little bit more charming than quiero. Or you can say, which the one I tend to use myself, voy a tomar whatever it is you want. So I'm going to take, voy a tomar una cerveza, por favor. And that works quite well. The Spanish do seem to understand tomar when you're having a drink, take a drink. We use that in English, of course. I'm going to take a such and such, but not to quite the same extent that a Spanish speaker would. And to ask about a specific drink, ¿te gustaría tomar un café? ¿Te apetece un té? ¿Quieres una limonada? You can ask if they'd like a specific thing. Useful again for the grandchildren to see what they would want. Don't tend to give them an open choice, because the choice would probably be they like my Spanish speaking grandchildren love Vimto. You don't get it in Ecuador, and when they come over here they love Vimto, but the mum doesn't like them to have too much of it, and they like to call it wine, so they'd ask for wine, meaning Vimto. Wine is certainly off the menu as far as mum's concerned and granddad's concerned. I'm quite liberal with the Vimto, but Lucia thinks it makes them overexcited, too much sugar in it. So we have to ration the Vimto to 1 glass a day. Okay, so let's have another look at the verb gustar and how we can use it. So last week we were talking about whether we like something or we don't like something, me gusta or no me gusta. And also if it's more than one thing we like or dislike, me gustan or no me gustan. And we also learned how to ask if somebody like something, say te gusta or te gustan in the informal, or if it was a formal situation, le gusta, le gustan. So we had the indirect object pronouns, because do you remember the way the sentence was constructed? You're asking, does the wine please you? So the wine pleases me. You or me is the indirect object in that sentence, and we have to have an indirect object pronoun, which is me, te, le, nos, os, and les. So learning indirect object pronouns, the week before we did reflexive pronouns, and I bet you, like me, have instantly mixed them up in your brain and can't remember which is which. So the reflexive pronouns, which we have to use with a reflexive verb. And a reflexive verb is a verb that reflects the action back onto the person who's using the verb. So the reflexive pronouns are me, te, se, nos, os, and se. So it's just the third person pronouns that are different. Se for reflexive, whether it's singular or plural, and le and les if it's a indirect object pronoun. Worth just trying to remind yourself of the difference there. I know it's a tricky thing when I just give you a screen with, oh, you know, here's the indirect object pronouns and here's the reflexive pronouns. Impossible to learn. The thing you need to do maybe is just get yourself a sheet of paper, spend half an hour and just write a sentence trying to use each one, and that sort of helps to fix it into your head a bit. Okay, so occasionally, well, let's say we've used gustar to say what we like and what we don't like. So we can also use it to say what I think my head shrunk. My headphones are slipping off. God knows what it'd be like when I've had a haircut. So we can use it to say what other people like and don't like. And I sneaked one or two of these into the homework, and everybody seemed to understand them, which was great. Now, occasionally, my wife answers questions that are asked of me. She answers on my behalf. It's one of her favourite tricks. She also finishes my sentences. If I have a little pause in my sentence, she jumps straight in and finishes my sentence for me. It might be annoying, but after, you know, we've been married for 46 years, so she generally knows what I'm going to say or what my answer would be. So I kind of think it's quite useful these days. So if we wanted to ask my wife if I liked red wine, how would we do that? So we start by identifying me. Now you need to say a here. So a Eric, or a tu marido. You need to identify the person. So Eric or your husband, but you need that a there. So that's important. Don't miss it out. So Eric, you've identified the person. Does it please him? Le gusta or le gustan if it's plural. So remember the indirect object pronoun for he, she, or you formal is le. And the subject, el vino tinto. So a Eric le gusta el vino tinto. That's the full sentence. Okay. Or you could say a tu marido le gusta el vino tinto. So two sentences there, one with the indirect object Eric and one with the indirect object phrase tu marido. Both need the indirect object pronoun le, and you also need to say a, because what you're saying is the red wine pleasing to Eric? That's why you need the a in there. The red wine, is it pleasing to your husband? You need the a in there to your husband. Now, it's often necessary to identify the third person in Spanish because the pronoun le is non-gender specific. It could mean he, could mean she or it, and it could mean you, formal, of course. So sometimes it's obvious what it is, but sometimes it isn't. So he likes red wine could be le gusta el vino tinto. She likes red wine, le gusta el vino tinto. And to be clear who you're talking about, sometimes the indirect object itself must be specified. So, does he like red wine? A él le gusta el vino tinto. Does she like red wine? A ella well, does she like a white wine spritzer? A ella le gusta el spritzer de vino blanco. Los hombres les gusta el fútbol. Las mujeres les gustan los futbolistas. Sorry about the sexual stereotyping there. Any questions on that? Has everybody got that? It's fairly logical, but you do have to sort of step through it. Any questions?
Can I just ask then, Eric, why are you saying a él le gusta or a ella?
Mm-hmm.
Why not a los hombres, a las mujeres? I just can't get the difference. I can't. I'm trying.
No. Yeah, no, I think you should have said a los hombres, a las mujeres. Yeah, I think you should.
I still don't know the difference of why.
No, I think I should have said a los hombres. It's I'm just being lazy. I've not put it in. It should be in there. You're right.
I'm only saying that because on Duolingo I get pulled up all the time for just putting.
Yeah, missing out the prepositions. Yeah. It should be in there. It should be in there. I'm surprised Adrian didn't spot it, actually. But well done, Abigail. You've got it in front of him.
I still don't understand it though.
Well, you're saying two, so
yeah. But on the previous page, then can you go back one?
Yeah. This one or another one back.
Oh yeah. So at the beginning of a sentence, then, if you're starting off by asking if he or she or the men, you would put a Eric. But if it was in the middle of a sentence, if you were saying, if someone was asking you why you don't want red wine, you could put porque me gusta vino blanco. You wouldn't put a in the middle, would you? You wouldn't say porque a mí me gusta.
Well, you could do. I mean, there wouldn't be anything wrong grammatically with saying if somebody said, "Do you like red wine?" Te gusta vino tinto? You could say, "No, a mí me gusta el vino blanco." That would be perfectly good Spanish.
Right. So if you put "a" in there all the time, "a mí me gusta," you wouldn't be wrong. But if you were to start by just saying "me gusta," that is wrong.
Eric le gusta el vino tinto. You'd be understood. I mean, grammatically, it's not quite correct, because the sentence, if you deconstruct it, is saying the red wine is pleasing to Eric. So you need that "a" for the to Eric.
Could I suggest an answer, Abigail?
Yeah.
When "me" is used as the indirect object pronoun, it contains the concept "to me." You could say "a me," but you couldn't say "a me," because "me" already has the concept of "a" in it.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, I don't know. I think I'll just have to keep plugging away with this, and it'll suddenly, the light bulb will go on. And
I mean, you can, if you want to say, "I like red wine," me gusta el vino tinto. That's fine. Red wine is pleasing to me. But you could, if you want to emphasize that you really like red wine, you could say, "A mí me gusta el vino tinto." So that's perfectly good as well. Use it for emphasis. Yeah.
Emphasis.
Okay.
Right.
So here, for clarification, the indirect object is also used. You don't necessarily need to say that with me, te, nos, or os, because the meaning would generally be quite clear. You know, for me, for you, for us, for you plural, it's perfectly obvious who is being pleased by whatever it is, or who is being displeased by whatever it is. So you could ask the question, "A Eric le gusta el vino tinto?" So does Eric like red wine? And a response would be "Sí le gusta." Yes, it's pleasing to him, because you know it's clear who you're talking about. You just ask the question, you've given an answer, it's clear who you're talking about, so you don't need to say "Sí a Eric le gusta." So use it for clarification when necessary. Okay. I'd just take a couple of reads through it, Abigail. I'm sure it'll sort of drop into place. Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions on that? And if you don't, if you don't use it, and there's a bit of confusion, people always ask you, who? ¿Quién es? Who is it? So don't worry. Don't let it spoil your enjoyment of gustar, which is a wonderful verb in my view. Okay, any more questions from anybody? Okay, so we just got to take a look at addresses in Spanish. They do look very strange when we come across them for the first time. And in Spanish, the word, la palabra para address, is la dirección. So it also sounds like direction. So ¿Cuál es tu dirección? Is what's your address? What's my direction? But there you go. So where do you live? You can live in una casa, a house. Also, casa can also mean home. La casa is my home. Other words for home: hogar, domicilio, residencia, morada, and for homeland, patria. Un chalet is a larger house, generally detached, often on the outskirts of town. Un piso, un apartamento is a flat. A lot of people live in flats in Spain. Departamento in Latin America means a flat, and you have this word buhardilla, which is sort of top floor flat, like a garret, quite popular in some Spanish cities because they're relatively cheap to rent. And some people have villas in Spain. A villa could be recognized as a house, but it also means a small village in Spain. So if you're telling somebody you have a villa, they could be mistaken for thinking you're the local lord or lady of the manor. You own an entire village. So a policeman might ask, ¿Cuál es su dirección, señor o señora? A new friend might ask, ¿Cuál es tu dirección? So su, tu, possessive adjectives, one is formal, one is informal. Note tu as your doesn't have the accent on. If it's tu, you, it would have an accent. Pronounced exactly the same, the accent is just there to differentiate the two words when you're reading. So they're pronounced exactly the same. You might ask, ¿Puedo tomar tu dirección? Can I take your address? Or puedes darme tu dirección? If you're at a party and you made friends with somebody and you want to arrange to see them the next day, puedes darme tu dirección is informal way of saying it. Now you can also use this exactly the same thing to ask for somebody's telephone number. Número. So swap número for dirección. And puedes darme tu número móvil? Could you give me your mobile number? And if you want to tell somebody what your address is, mi dirección es. Pretty straightforward. So let's have a look at the construction of an address in Spain. Now, this address comes from a textbook that we used last year, Sueños, and it does give the format of an address. The street comes first. This is true in Latin America as well. Sometimes in Latin America particularly, they'll describe an address as at the junction of two streets. So you might have two streets mentioned there, and that signifies that the address is near the junction of those two streets. So in this case, we have Calle Peña Alceba, and say this was in the in Sueños. So we know this particular property is in Calle Peña Alceba, and it's number 24. Now, there are a lot of flats in Spain. People tend to live in flats and apartments far more than they do in the UK. So you will typically see these numbers and symbols after the number of the block, the apartment block. So uno means first floor, and dos is the second door. The door will generally have the number on it. So if you see that address, you know that this person lives in second flat, first floor, 24, Calle Peña Alceba. The 28130 is the postal code, and then you'll have the postal town afterwards. So they can look, they do look a bit weird to an English eye.
Eric.
Yes, Adrian.
Eric, would, in saying the postcode, would they say 28130 or would they say 28,130?
No, I think they'd say 28130. So I mean, telephone numbers are the same. They'd often just give the what's his name, the numbers, you know, 28130. But sometimes with telephone numbers, you'll get them in pairs. So it might be the same with a zip code. You might find 28, and then maybe 130, so 28,130. We do the same in English, don't we? And there aren't any rules to it. You know, sometimes people will give their telephone number as 27100 or something like that. It's just or 27100. We don't have any rules, so I can't say for sure, but I think they would say 28130 in that case. We tried last year to work out what Calle Peña Alceba was, and Peña we worked out was a rock or a cliff, but it also means a crowd, and Alceba means absent. So we thought that maybe it meant without crowds, in other words, quiet streets, Calle Peña Alceba, but I wouldn't count on that. Peña without the N-Y in the middle, with just an N-A. Pene is pene, and that means pain. So que pena is what a pain, how annoying. Quite a useful explanation. Que pena. Right, we've just got time for gran and grande. So gran means great, and grande means big or large. So good phrase to help you remember, la gran casa grande is the great big house. If you talked about un gran mujer, you'd be talking about a great woman, somebody who deserves our praise, a great woman. If you were talking about una mujer grande, you'd be talking about a large woman who is big in stature, big in size, maybe not big in stature, I should say. So that's the difference between the two, and you often hear gran used for plaza, gran plaza. It means the main square, you know. So that's one to remember. Okay, let me stop the share. We'll go back to where we were on the screen. So thanks everybody who's sent advice about how to get the ASCII codes for the letters. I sent round a little note in the lesson notes showing that pressing Alt and then using the numbers on the keypad at the side on your keyboard, you can get accents in capitals, also upside down question marks and upside down exclamation marks. That's one way of doing it, and if it works well for you, then great. Do that. Otherwise, you know, there were the methods we talked about using alternative keyboards. So next week we're going to look at how to describe people, and we're also going to learn body parts ready to take a trip to the doctors. So there'll be a lot. I'm going to send some homework round. There'll be a lot of new words to learn, expanding your vocabulary for body parts. And after 6 years learning Spanish, I still can't remember the difference between ears and sheep. So there are a few to trip you up. And I'll also send around a couple of little exercises for homework based on what we've been doing this week. So there's something to look forward to. Thanks very much, everybody. Are there any questions about today's lesson?
No.
Any further
No,
questions?
no, thank you.
That's good.
Good.
Everybody okay? Good. Excellent. So nos vemos la próxima semana. I think we'll do one more lesson before Easter, and then perhaps we'll have a couple of weeks off over Easter, and then give our brains a rest and back for the summer term. U3A reckons that we might be able to meet in class from the middle of June, but I've got severe doubts about whether that will be possible. So I'm still aiming that you know, given a fair wind, we'll be able to start having classes again face to face in
Maybe we can
September.
have a picnic, Eric.
A picnic would be nice, wouldn't it? Picnic in the park. Yes, it would. Yeah. Let's wait for some warmer, drier weather, and maybe we can have a Spanish picnic in the park. That would be lovely. Good stuff. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Well done. And
Adios.
see you all next week.
Adios.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Hasta luego.